Hey guys, Richie here again. Today this video is part 3 on the Porsche 917. So before I start, make sure you all like the video, subscribe, comment down below what you guys think, hit the notification bell, and hit all so you're alerted when I make new uploads. Without further ado, let's continue where I left off. So, a 4.9 liter engine introduced at 1,000-kilometer Monza was available, but these proved to be unreliable for long-distance races. The 917 didn't compete at all the races of the season. However, Porsche's previous competition model, the 908, was redesigned with an all-new chassis and designated 908/03, so it would be used at the Targa Florio and Nürburgring Nordschleife 1,000-kilometer events. Two twisty, narrow, and slow tracks the 917 was not competitive at. Vic Elford drove a 917 during practice for the 1970 Targa Florio, and it proved to be so physically demanding and difficult. Both physically demanding and difficult to drive around the circuit that he had to be lifted out of the car. Although he set the fifth fastest time, the 908/03 was very effective at these two races. It was effective. Porsche's dedication was such that they were building cars for each type of track. The 908/03 for the slow, twisty tracks, the 917K for the medium and high speed tracks, and the 917K for the medium and high speed tracks, and the 917L for the fast straights of Le Mans. The favorite team to win, Gulf-backed JW Automotive, lined up 3 917Ks, 2 with the 4.9 liter engine and 1 with a 4.5 liter unit. Two 917 LH were entered in Le Mans. So 2 917 LHs were entered in Le Mans, one in white and red trim by Porsche Salzburg. Driven by both Vic Elford and Kurt Achrens, the Pulsar's 4.9 liter engine dropped an inlet valve after 225 laps. Both drivers had also been entered on the team's other car, a red and white 917K with a 4.5 liter engine, qualified by both Hans Hermann and Richard Atwood. So Hans Hermann and Richard Atwood, a rather low 15th spot. So 15th, 1-5 spot, but they didn't drive after their own car failed. The other LH was entered by Martini Racing, qualified by Wilbert Cousin and Gerard Larousse on 12th position. The spectacular livery on this car was elaborate whirls and swoops of light green on a dark blue background. The car with the 4.5 liter engine gained the nickname of the hippie car, or the psychedelic Porsche, from both the team and media. Early in the race, most of the works Ferrari 512 entrants eliminated each other in a shunt. The two Porsche factory teams. So the two Porsche factory teams, Gulfwire and Porsche Salzburg, continued to battle each other, but all wire cars were out after 12 hours. At the end, it was the red and white number 23 917K of Porsche Salzburg, with the standard 4.5-liter engine, carefully driven by Stuttgart's own Hans Hermann and Englishman Richard Atwood, through the pouring rain that finally scored the first overall win at Le Mans in a wet race that saw only 7 ranked finishers. Martini's 917LH came in second. Both cars were later paraded across Stuttgart. In addition to Porsche's triumphant 1-2 victory, a Porsche 908 came in third overall. A Porsche 914-6 came in sixth place overall, plus it won the GT class. And a Porsche 911S was seventh place. Two Ferrari 512s took fourth and fifth place overall. Towards the end of the 1970 season, Ferrari entered some races with a new version of the 512. The 512M. M is modificata. The 512M, I think it's Italian for modification, I don't know. Anyway, the 512M had a new bodywork built on a similar aerodynamic doctrine as the Porsche 917K. At the end of 1970, the 512M was as fast as the 917s, but still lacked in reliability. During the 1970 season, the FIA announced that Group 5 sports cars will be limited to a 3-liter engine capacity maximum for the newly renamed World Championship of Makes in 1972. So the big 917s and 512s, so 917s and 512s would have to retire from the championship. So we'll have to retire from the championship at the end of 1971. Surprisingly, Ferrari decided to give up any official efforts with the 512 in order to prepare for the 1972 season. A new prototype, the 312 PB, was presented and entered by the factory in several races, but many 512s were still raced by private teams, most of them converted to M specification. By the end of 1970, Porsche had stamped their authority on endurance racing by convictingly dominating the championship that year. Of the 10 races in the championship, plus some other non-championship events, the works teams, JW Automotive and Porsche Salzburg, had won every race except Sebring, which is in America. I think it's in Florida, I don't really remember. Which was won by Ferrari that year with the two models of cars they used, the 917K and the 908/03. With the 917K winning 7 of 8 events it was entered in, and the 908/03 winning at the Targa Florio and the Nürburgring Nordschleife. The 917K was not entered by the works teams at these two events. Still having some of their 25 cars remaining unsold, Ferrari offered them to customers at a bargain price. A move that had hardly been imaginable less than 2 years previously. For Porsche, the original production series of 25 917s could not satisfy demand. Over 50 chassis were built in total, an underdog for 20 years. Porsche had turned itself into a new leader of sports car racing with the 917. Now we got 1971. So in 1971, the season began with the JW Automotive team scoring a 1-2 finish at the Buenos Aires. Can't really pronounce that.
Buenos Aires.
So the season began with the JW Automotive team scoring a 1-2 finish at the Buenos Aires 1,000 kilometer. Joseph and Derek Bell leading Pedro Rodriguez and Jackie Oliver home. At the 24 Hours of Daytona, much was expected of the Roger Penske Ferrari 512N, which qualified on pole almost 1.3 seconds ahead of the fastest 917. However, mechanical issues plagued the Ferrari and it finished third, 14 laps behind winners Rodriguez and Oliver. At the 12 Hours of Sebring, it was the turn of the Martini Racing team to triumph. Vic Elford and Gerard LaRose taking the honors. The first upset came at the Brands Hatch 1,000 kilometer. Ferrari and Alfa Romeo had turned their attention to developing cars for the forthcoming 3-liter regulations, and the 312 PB and Tipo 33-3 were providing as fast as the 917s. At Brands Hatch, a large grid of the twisting damp track suited the Italian cars, and Porsche finished third behind the Alfa Romeo of Andrea de Adamic and Henry Pescarolo, and the Ferrari of Jackie Ickx and Clay Regazzoni. The high-speed circuits at the Monza 1,000 kilometer and Spa 1,000 kilometer played to the 917's strength, and the JW Golf cars finished 1-2 in both races. Pedro Rodriguez and Jackie Oliver being the winners in both events. Throughout the season, Porsche continued to develop the 917, introducing new versions of the short and long-tail bodywork, and trying out the magnesium chassis with which they would win the 1971 24 Hours of Le Mans. The most interesting development was the 917/20, built as testbed for future Can-Am parts and aerodynamic low-drag concepts. The 917 had done well in the early season Le Mans test, but Uncomplimentary remarks about its size and shape resulted in it being painted in pink for the 24-hour race, complete with names of cuts of meat written across it in German like a butcher's diagram. This earned it the nickname Der Trüffeljäger von Zuffenhausen, the truffle hunter of Zuffenhausen, or just plain Pink Pig. It qualified seventh, and ran as high as third. But during the night, Reinhold Joest, co-driving with Wilkhausen, crashed the car at Arnage after its brakes failed. Also at Le Mans, the revised lagheads, now cured of their early vices, all failed to finish. Although Pedro Rodriguez set a fastest qualifying lap, which, partly due to circuit changes, still stands today. The winning car was the Martini Racing 917K of Helmut Marko and Guy van Lennep, was a Dutch racing driver, equipped with a magnesium frame, which set an overall distance record that stood until 2010. All in all, 4 separate Le Mans track records were broken that year. Fastest qualifying lap, fastest in race lap, highest top speed, and longest distance traveled, or longest distance covered, all set by 917s. The Targa Florio and Nürburgring Nordschleife 1000 kilometers were again missed out by the works teams. All privateer Wilkhausen, partnered by Reinhold Joest, to 5th place at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. The next race was another high-speed circuit, the Österreichring, where Pedro Rodriguez and Richard Atwood brought the only 917 finisher home in first place. The last race of the season and the last race under the 5-liter capacity regulations was the Watkins Glen 6 hours. The Penske Ferrari again beat the 917 to the pole, but again suffered mechanical problems and failed to finish. However, the Alfa Romeo Tipo 33 of Andrea de Adamich and Ronnie Peterson beats the JW Porsches to the flag by a margin of 2 laps. And with that, the 917's world sports car career was over. JW Automotive took a car to the non-championship Barcelona 1000 kilometer and the 1000 kilometer of Paris. Derek Bell and Guy van Lennep winning the latter event. The 917's swan song came in 1972 when Wilson Fittipaldi won the last race in the Copa Brazil series in the ex-Citro Racing 917K. Next up is 1972 and 1973 Can-Am. As the new rules for the 3-liter prototypes were not favorable to their existing low-weight, low-power Porsche 908, Porsche decided against developing a new high-power engine that could keep up with the F1-based engine designs of the competition, at least in naturally aspirated form. In 1976, they would return to sports prototype racing with the turbocharged Porsche 936 or 936 race cars after the engines were tested in Porsche 911 versions. So tested in Porsche 911 versions. After their successes with the 917 mainly in Europe, Porsche instead decided to focus on the North American market and the Can-Am Challenge. For that series, larger and more powerful engines were needed. Although a 16-cylinder with about 750 horsepower was tested, a turbocharged 12-cylinder engine with comparable power output was ultimately used. The 917 chassis also had to be lengthened to accept the longer 16-cylinder engine, and drivers complained that this longer chassis did not handle as well. The turbocharged 850 horsepower 917/10K, entered by Penske Racing, won the 1972 season with George Fulmer. After a testing accident, sidelined primarily driver Mark Donohue. This broke the five-year stranglehold McLaren had on the series. The further evolution of the 917, the 917/30, with revised aerodynamics, a longer wheelbase, and an even stronger 5.4-liter engine with about 1,100 horsepower in race trim, won the 1973 edition, winning all races but two. Charlie Kemp won the most sport race. So most sport race, George Fulmer won Road Atlanta, and Mark Donohue won the rest. Most of the opposition was made of private 917/10K, as McLaren, unable to compete against the 917 turbos, had already left the series to concentrate on Formula One and the Indy 500. So Formula One and the Indy 500. The 917's domination, the oil crisis, and fiery tragedies like Roger Williamson's in Zandvoort pushed the SCCA to introduce a 3 miles per gallon, 78 liters, 100 kilometers maximum fuel consumption rule for 1974. Due to this change, the Penske 917/30 competed in only one race in 1974, and some customers retrofitted their 917/10K with naturally aspirated engines. So naturally aspirated engines, the 917/30 was the most powerful sports car racer ever built and raced. The 5.374-liter 12-cylinder 90 by 70.4mm twin turbocharged engine could produce around 1,100 horsepower at 7,800 RPM in race trim. The 917/30 dominated the Can-Am series. During the 1973 season, the 917 was also the only championship-winning car in Can-Am not to be powered by Chevrolet. And last but not least, we got 1981. In 1981, it appeared that New Le Mans regulations would allow a 917 to race again. The Kremer Racing team entered a home-built updated 917, the 917 K-81. Well, K-81, it kind of sounds like a rifle name or a tank, the K-81. Or a jet fighter, or a bomber, or whatever. So the 917 K-81 or the K-81. The car raced at Le Mans, qualifying in the top 10, but retired after 7 hours after a collision with a back marker lead. Well, back marker led to a loss of both oil and withdrawal. The final chapter though was to be at Brands Hatch, where the car ran in the 6 hours at the end of the season. The car was competitive and ran at or near the front, including a spell in the lead. Until a suspension failure led to retirement. Until a suspension failure led to retirement. Led to retirement. All right. Okay, next up. I got world. Hold on a minute. For the next video will be the World Sports Car Championship victories. So this is what I'm on next. For the next part of the video, the World. Focus. There we go. The World Sports Car Championship victories. So that's for the next part. So if you guys like this video, like and subscribe, comment down below what you guys think, hit the notification bell and hit all so you're alerted when I make new uploads. So yeah, I was basically being quiet for like the entire time, really. So that's what I'm doing for the next video, the World Sports Car Championship victories. And so yeah, that'll be it for today. So if you guys like the video, like and subscribe, comment down below what you guys think, hit the notification bell and hit all so you're alerted when I make new uploads. And I'll see you guys soon in the next video. But until then, stay safe, have a great day, and I'll see you guys soon in the next video. Take care, folks. I'll see you guys soon. Good night.